At this time, I'd like to open the meeting of the Carver Conservation Commission for September 18th, 2019. Our first order of business is some appointments and discussions. We have Darlene Whitmore here. Oh, okay. I didn't see you. Darlene, would you come up? Thank you. So, Darlene, you have some questions about invasive species in the pond?
Yes. I've been a Carver resident for about 27 years now, and I live on Fresh Meadow Pond. It's also known as Bartlett Pond, and there's actually a few other names as well, but I think officially it's most recently known as Fresh Meadow Pond. And over the years, there has been more and more presence of lily pads and weeds, and to the point where it really can't be used recreationally. I'm a swimmer, we have a boat we can't use. It just seems that every year there's more and more growth to the point where it's prohibiting recreational use, and it's very concerning to a lot of the residents, myself included. Interestingly, my neighbor was supposed to be with me, but she's having some health concerns. She can't be here tonight. But we had a discussion, and she's been living here for 70 years in the same house, and she has never in 70 years seen it this bad. I'm concerned about the Asian milfoil, and my neighbors are all here, and with a common purpose. We don't know if there is anything that can be done, to treat the pond, to dredge the pond, to try to bring the pond back to a healthy state, while, protecting the fish and the wildlife as well. So we figured this was the first step for the dialogue, and I didn't know if the town would be able to come down and take a look at it, what the first step would be. If we could reach out to our local representatives.
I think the town would have to probably put a call into one of the agencies that does this sort of things, companies, and have them come and take a look at it and give advise us as to what they think.
Mm-hmm. So that would be the next step.
Well, of course, there's always the question about bringing in hippos, who probably would eat this right out. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment on this? Thank you. I would suggest that there are products that can be used, that have been used throughout the state at different phases.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest to you, I'll get a hold of an engineer that has a propensity for knowing the knowledge of the different chemicals that can be used, sonar being one of them. There are a few that you can actually put in the water and an hour later drink, but it'll take care of the issues that you're running into, if it's that much an invasive situation. I would suggest that the board would go down and take a look at it first, but I would also ask that we all keep an open mind. Situations like this, it does get pretty bad at times, I understand that. I live on a pond myself, I know what you're talking about. But I would, if it's all right with the board, I'd like to suggest that we look at it, but have not the town pay an expense for this, because I don't feel it's the town's responsibility to go into somebody's pond and clean it. It'll be up to the people who live there That being said, I would imagine that if they came up with an engineer that would have the expertise and explain to us what they wanted to do, and we listen to what they have to say, but at the same time, we should be down there looking at it now to see just how bad it is. I wouldn't shut the door on not doing anything, but you just can't randomly, okay, grab a product and go out there and do it. It has to be governed and regulated. And it has been done in other parts of Massachusetts, so it wouldn't be the first time. But I would suggest that you have an engineer come up with who has the expertise to resolve the situation, come to us with a format after we look and see how bad it is, if it's all right with you, Mr. Chairman.
It would sound like a good idea. I'd like to try a parallel approach where we go down, look at it, at the same time, you start searching for people, experts that have dealt with this.
I do know one company, I can't remember the name of them, I can give you the number, and that's their specialty is aquatic, nuisance aquatic vegetation. They go in and they do the removal, and, it would cost a little bit of money, but.
Is there, was there a grant issue to the town to help for things such as this?
I haven't heard of one.
There may also be state grants
Right.
available.
Yeah. Seems like
I have
an
a
invasive
feeling
species.
Marshfield or Pembroke?
Is that a town pond?
I think Pembroke might have had a success story.
I think it's considered a town
Oh,
pond.
okay.
Well,
It's not a great pond.
I think it is a great
You
pond,
think it is?
and it's half in Carver and half in Plymouth.
I was just going to mention that.
So, we can't act as a town without
Right.
Plymouth's input.
Oh, right.
I do think it's a great pond, which puts it under the state auspices. As a great pond, it falls under the state, I believe.
Right,
It is a great pond, huh?
right.
Oh,
Just looking at the size of it, I would have to say it is.
I don't know the pond, that's why.
It's Bunny's Road,
Oh,
the pond that goes.
What does that mean, Great Pond?
Great Pond is established by the state as a certain amount of acreage. Any pond greater than a certain amount of acreage, and I forget what it
I
is.
think
It
it's
might be
10.
10 acres?
I think so.
No, it's gotta be more than that.
gotta be more than that, I got.
Is it? I thought it was over, I think it's over 10. I thought.
But-
Well, anyway, there's a set size that the state, over which it becomes in the state a great pond, and then therefore it becomes under state DEP auspices to mind it. That's why, something as, large lakes like Sampson's are called ponds, because the notification of the indication of pond means that it is a great pond. So, I think there's 7 in. Yeah, there are 7 in Carver. Even Cooper's Pond and John's Pond qualify as great ponds.
We recommend we get a hold of conservation in Plymouth as well.
Yes.
Well,
I would
Sorta
think
have to
so,
with that.
but I would,
Plymouth Campground, Pinewood
Yeah.
Campground's on there, Plymouth Rod Gun Club's
Yeah.
on there.
And residents of.
Yeah, you'd have to, and they could help.
Maybe there could be a collaborative approach. I just,
I would think you'd be able to control your side of the pond.
it's water.
Yeah, but the water.
it's both,
Yeah, but
it's
these
affecting
products-
both sides
these
of the
products
pond.
And you have to.
These
tell
products
them
don't
since
float
it's,
across, they're a
Right.
downward product. I
Well, this may be
know them
something
very
the state
well.
will fit the bill for, or
This
maybe
is-
something that
I
Plymouth
think,
will
I
share
think
the
this is
cost.
I think this is a state issue. I
Yeah.
think it's something that should be brought to the state. Now, maybe we can inquire as a board to the state and also talk to Plymouth.
Yeah, and Plymouth,
Yes.
Concom might have to dealt with this, because they have, a lot of
Right.
other ponds. that
Yes.
I-
Right.
Billings.
I would be willing
Mr. Chair?
to reach
Yeah.
out to the
The agent
Plymouth.
is Rick Vaca. He's the conservation agent in Plymouth.
Rick Vaca.
Yep,
VACCA.
he actually lives in Carver,
Oh, okay.
but, and I think the number is, it's 508-747-1620, and then they bring you to all the
Yes.
different extensions and stuff, yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, one other suggestion, before your group starts spending money on engineers and so forth to mitigate whatever issue there is, there are a few nonprofit organizations in the area that have on their staff or on their boards field biologists that would come down, as it's their mandate, their mission to educate the public, to be able to maybe narrowly identify what the species is that is invading the area and causing the issue, and then you get a little bit more In terms of economy of effort, I think you might be better off
Sure.
And
going
are you
that.
familiar with the names of these?
I am. I was going to say through Brooke, I'll provide 3 different nonprofits that I know deal with southeastern Massachusetts, and one, if not all of them, would be able to have somebody come down and help you out.
Thank
So,
you,
yeah,
thank you very much,
problem.
because, you know, financially, I have no idea
Right.
what the expense is, and,
You explore all the free angles first.
It
yes.
shouldn't be borne by you alone, because it will be beneficial to the whole community.
Community. Yes,
Plymouth too.
Yeah, because
Yes.
it should be, everybody should be involved. I would start on that sooner than later, so by next spring, you'll be all set to go.
exactly,
Yeah, the issue that you're talking about is not specific to Fresh Meadow Pond. It's in all the ponds in Carver these days.
Correct.
Yeah, it's just
I've been on
one-
Sampson's Pond since the mid-'50s, and, you know, as a kid. And there are more things growing out of the water now than there ever has been. And it's really over the last 10 to 15 years that places that were always clear water are now full of weeds that not only underwater, but are growing above the surface.
yes,
And it's a big change.
It
And
is.
as far as the grant that you mentioned before, a grant was issued primarily to try to remove invasive species from areas where the fire department has their holes where they draw water from.
oh,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that grant was more for safety
Yeah.
I
than it
understand.
was for water cleanup.
Yeah.
It
Sure.
was
Well,
for
water
specific
supply.
areas.
sure.
So that's the grant that was
And-
given to Carver.
And
That
I
was,
appreciate that, you know, the safety concerns for
Yeah.
that.
So I'd like to set up a tack method where we
Yeah.
check with Plymouth
Okay.
Conservation Commission and the agent, and then we call the DEP.
Yeah.
And ask them for their help on it, and then just start, well, I know it's either Pembroke or Halifax.
Yeah, that
so
did,
who had some.
had one of their
different-
ponds cleaned up, or something. Oh.
Yeah, so,
And just to tie a bow on what I was saying, by high noon on Friday, I'll make sure I have the points of contact and phone numbers to Brooke.
Oh, thank you very
for that.
much.
I'm not sure if I'll get everybody's, they're in my notes, but I'll make sure I've got their specific numbers.
Thank you.
Rather than give you an 800 number, I'd rather have you get the actual person you'd want to be talking to.
Yes, thank you very much, I
Okay.
really appreciate that.
Sure.
And I appreciate your time,
Thank you.
inviting us, welcoming us to the meeting and listening to our concerns. It's greatly appreciated.
You're
I know
welcome.
I speak on behalf of all of our neighbors.
Yeah.
We're here to help.
Everybody
I think it's great.
that I talked to had a vested interest and
Mhm.
wanted to show their support by, you know, coming in this evening.
I think
So-
I think for some reason, I think their conservation commission is very good, and I think this is probably something that they dealt with in other ponds in Plymouth, so,
Sure.
Yeah, I think this
Sure.
would be a lot of help.
Sure. So what I will do then is I will reach out to the conservation agent in Plymouth and let them know that we are exploring some options to assist the cleanup of Fresh Meadow Pond, and that the Conservation Committee is going to do a walkthrough, and I'm going to reach out to some nonprofits and, you know, just keep the dialogue going and try to get a plan in place for the spring.
Why don't you give us your email address also?
I
and
did.
Brooke
I
can
think
respond.
I have it, yeah.
Yes.
You have
Yep,
it?
yep.
Yes,
We'll
and
give
I,
you all that information on Friday, so you'll have
Wonderful.
it.
thank you very
Okay.
much, and I'll share with communications with,
Yeah.
The neighborhood.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you
This is
very
the
much.
part
Thank
now
you,
where we
darling.
pass the hat.
The next,
Oh, money?
next item
Don't.
is, Eddie's, the next item is Mike Doyle, a
I-
student interested in environmental.
He had asked me a while ago, and I didn't have heard back from him, so I wasn't sure if he was coming, so I think he's not here.
He's not in tonight, okay. Shirley Pye Phragmites in Sampson's Pond. Shirley Pye?
No, I went and saw her, and she showed me an area of, near, behind Pine Ridge, kind of over where that old bog is. There's a big area of phragmites, so she was in contact with DeRosa Environmental, those people that we talked about at the invasive species meetings. So she was gonna get a price before she came to us to find out, you know, kind of what that type of thing would cost. So she probably never talked to her.
Okay.
So-
That's all.
was they
Again,
would,
again, the state should be notified, because it's
Right,
it's a
right.
great pond.
right, which we'd have to tell her, yeah, before they did
Yeah.
anything, obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a citizen
Right.
fight here.
No, but if someone like DeRosa did it, they would know to, contact the state, because it is a state pond, too. I
Right.
would think they would know, you know what I mean, because they do all the regulatory stuff.
Okay, our next item is a discussion on the bylaws.
Mr. Chairman, can I suggest that we put that off to the next meeting, just due to the size of tonight's meeting?
We could, because,
Good, or until later on in the meeting?
yeah,
Okay.
because we don't have, we have
Because
nothing,
we
not
have-
much at the
yeah,
last,
we have a
yeah,
crowd and
Okay,
yeah.
so we're into the business items. Complain about activities at 22 Lakeview Street.
I'll leave.
Was there something we said?
Next time, take a shower out.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very welcome.
First one up, we lose half the
I
other.
don't think the Bennies are here.
Okay.
Well, but,
that's
Jeff,
tabled. Yeah,
Jeff Merritt's here, he has a little bit of information, he's the neighbor.
right.
And Jeff did file a formal complaint, so that was why we went down
On
to
Lakeview?
22 Lakeview, yep.
Okay.
And we saw the fence, so I sent out a letter, said that, about the fence being there with no permit, and I asked them to come in, and they haven't
Thank
come
you.
in, but
Okay,
Jeff, just has a little more information for you on that.
so, people want something done, they run in here. If they want to do something, there you go.
You were right.
So guys, let me just start off by saying thank you. I know anything that has to do with enforcement, uncomfortable, it's awkward, nobody wants to be in that spot, but let me start by saying thank you for at least listening, and then whatever you can do to help would be great, but thanks for the opportunity.
Jeff, did you sign in?
I will right now, yep.
Right, we had some talk about this, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, when we went out, we saw the fence,
Yeah.
and I sent a letter to the owners of 22 Lakeview and asked them to come in, because we saw that they had put a fence up.
Uh-huh.
And they're not here, but, we found out about the fence because Jeff
Yes.
lives next door, and
He's being victimized basically by the fence.
It's not even a real fence.
So the first page, I just thought some of the pictures help, right? The first one just shows the layout with contours. It shows the 65-foot buffer zone in red, 100-foot buffer zone in green, the water's edge to Sampson Pond in blue. And then in the yellow that you see on that page is where the vegetation piles are, the waste piles. So you have some sense of where the piles are. The one thing that I would just call your attention to is that where these piles are, there's a significant slope from where the piles are down to the water. It goes from about 110 feet down to about 94 feet over that 100-foot span. So it's one thing to just take a peek out there. Next page just shows some pictures of the size of the piles. It's about 50 feet long. There's 5 10-foot sections that are about 4 foot tall, 5 feet deep. And as you would expect, the things that are inside of there, whether it's vegetation from a garden, grass clippings, I'd say through the course of the summer, it's 100% grass clippings. As you get closer to the fall, stuff from the gardens and stuff like that end up in there as a mulching pile. The dumping is approximately 2 times a week. A little bit more now because you're getting to the end of the growing season. On the next page, just shows the rotting, decaying vegetation, grass clippings, leaves. But again, pictures to give a sense for just what's inside of the piles. What we've seen, actually on the next page, is the increased insects, rodents, and I am not kidding you, this happened tonight, that as I was walking out the door, there's a fox in the yard, my dog runs out the door, chases the fox down the street. It's a whole thing when I'm trying to come here, but it is starting to attract other animals, rodents, even with the exterminators, squirrels, that kind of stuff. We've noticed that even on their comments that we've seen increased activity because of all of it. Our concerns, if you look at that page, are really some of the things that we just got done talking about. The piling of materials within 100 feet of Sampson Pond, the fence within 100 feet. I don't believe there was a notice of intent or a permit or anything like that, but you guys are well more educated on that than I am. I'm worried about the damage to Sampson Pond, the fertilizers, insecticides that might have been in that garden that are going into these piles, the decomposing materials, nitrates, nitrogen, all of that stuff that contributes to the growth in the ponds that we just talked about, right? In addition, the way these piles are 4 feet deep, they're actually around some of the trees that are growing, 30-foot pines, whatever they might be. You can see that it's actually starting to kill them because it's suffocating the root system, the root balls, all that kind of stuff. And of course, our new well is gonna be going right at the corner. And I know this isn't for you guys, let you purview a little bit, but the well is going right there on that, right where those piles are, on our property, but right there. So it's a concern.
On the front page, can you tell me where the well's gonna be?
Yep, it's on that first page.
Found it, right at the bottom of the pile?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so that's his new well.
And then, as I opened, the ask, request for enforcement for the removal of the waste piles, removal of the fence, and just the quiet enjoyment of our property yet once again, right? And I do mean this. Thank you for just listening. I really do appreciate it. So, if you have any questions, I'm certainly happy to try, but.
Well, we have to look into it. and-
Yep.
Yep.
You're gonna go over and see it?
Well, we saved, I think it was
Yep.
just you and I left, right? You and I went and saw it, Savory.
Did you go? Did,
I don't care.
I think you and I were the only
okay,
ones left.
might have been
Yeah,
the two of us.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's there. Everything's there. Like,
It's
that's
there.
it.
There were a couple of things that we noticed. First of all, there is a fence there that is too small for animals to get through. We had another gentleman come in who wanted to put a fence up.
Yeah, you
Like,
can't have
some
much.
odd free circle or something?
Yeah,
We told him he
right.
had to keep the fence.
And he
Yeah.
had he kept the fence, the openings in the fence enough for small animals
Yep.
like raccoons, et cetera, to get through. Here they can't at all. It's not only is it a small fence, but it's packed solid. It's definitely changing the surface. So it's changing the characteristics of water being soaked into the ground. And there's also a potential after, a couple of years of this for spontaneous combustion.
Well, what about the nitrates going into the pond?
Well, that was already mentioned.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what about the damage to the guy's well?
Well, that too. This is, there are a couple of things in here that are the insects, the rodents, the smell are probably Board of Health.
Mhm. And you have talked to Kevin.
I have.
You
So
have.
Kev, there was, and I think he was looking up to see if there was like bylaw for nuisance stuff like this, but, so I think he's still looking into.
All right, well, I mean, it's a safety issue.
Mhm.
I'd back an enforcement order.
Does Kevin know about your well?
I'm not sure.
I think the well's
It's on the print.
more important than the pond.
I'd have to ask.
Hmm.
Right.
All right, I'll talk to him about that.
I think we could, every time an enforcement order.
I'm a little surprised they didn't show up, because they're supposed to come in with a notice of intent to do more work down there to replace their stairs and stuff.
Yeah.
And they already got in trouble for another project they did without a notice of intent, so they know, what they're supposed to do.
Why don't we send them a stronger invitation?
What's the address of next door?
It's 22 Lakeview is where the letter went to.
22 Lakeview?
Yep.
Mhm.
And they've been in, to see us before. So,
Yes, they have.
I would,
What's the name?
Benny,
Benny.
Benennei.
You get a
Mark
picture
and
of it,
Rebecca.
Sadie?
What's that?
You get a picture of it?
No.
Not strong.
No, I was just,
Mr. Chairman,
Looking at a
should we
bylaw.
bring this to a vote if we're gonna do an enforcement order?
What do you think?
What do you think? I mean, we could, I could always call them and have them come to the next meeting.
I would ask them to come next meeting.
Okay,
All
Give
right.
them another chance.
and
All right.
we'll tell them at that time,
Send that certified?
if they show up or not, don't show up, we'll just tell them we're considering an enforcement.
Send a letter to show up to our next meeting?
All right,
Then we'll send that letter certified.
And if
Yeah.
that doesn't work, throw an enforcement order.
Send a certified and a non-certified.
I do it now,
Okay.
but
That way if they
right.
Sure.
try and dodge the certified.
Yeah, so we'll try again.
Yes.
So the next meeting will be October 2nd.
Okay. Very good.
And we'll-
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Stay in contact with Brooke so that if it is definitely on for the second, so you don't waste the time.
Will do.
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh,
And
So maintenance of abandoned bog and cutting of shrubs at Pine Ridge.
Yeah, do you remember when we went out, and they had done some work in that abandoned bog behind Pine Ridge? A.D. Makepeace had dug a
Yes.
channel through it, and so we sent them a letter,
Yes.
and then found out that they did that in order to get water to the other bog,
On the
so it was
other
really
side, between
an
Tremont.
agricultural thing.
Yes.
So then at that time, we talked to, a couple of the residents at Pine Ridge, and they said, well, you know, can we cut around that bog and keep it maintained? And we said yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we voted that they could, and so I just wanted to let you know that that they would.
Okay. All right.
So this is not in reference to what we looked at today.
No, no, no.
So do we have to, do anything more?
So that, no, I just wanted to let you know, because it was something that we had already kind of approved, and she called and just wanted to, you know, tell us that they were gonna, do the regular maintenance of it.
Okay, so that's taken care
Yeah.
of. Next item, 17 Wareham Street, update. We have principals here. Would your other party sign in this?
What's that?
Would you sign in this?
You signed both of us.
Now, we've been dealing with your project since about February of this year. And we've had a number of statements given us as to what you were gonna do. And unfortunately, there doesn't seem to have been much forward motion, a lot of dancing around sideways. I would like to know when you intend to start reforesting the edge of the Crane Brook there, up to the top of the Bank Road. There were instructions given to start planting that. This was back in April. Yes.
I thought you guys decided that that was not the case, that we were not to replant, just to let it to grow back.
Yeah, we had, when we were at this meeting with Mark, we said, let's see what the next season brings, because things grow
Yeah.
fairly quickly, so we were not to plant anything.
I think that was the area by the river.
There were
Right.
two,
Down by the
different
river,
things. There were two different things. The area that was going, that had been cut down to where the little point is,
Yeah,
Mhm.
we said that whole area could grow back. We were there
And
today,
that's
and it's,
fine.
and it's coming back fine.
Right.
It's fine. But what we also said at one of our meetings was because of the bog, where the wood was, has been abandoned, that there was no reason any longer for the maintenance road to go around the edge of it, close to the river.
Oh, we didn't catch that part.
yeah, that,
Okay.
I don't
And-
know if that was missed, but to our knowledge, that was never
Okay, well, this time now, it is meant, and it is, the failure to have foliage, in that area is a real, abrasive item to, the neighbors who are on the other side of the river, and we are expecting to see that recovered this fall. That means you have to start on it.
You want us to plant there?
I want you to plant. I want you to plant things. I would suggest red maples. They're not expensive. They'll go in and they'll take fire just like crazy, and start putting them along the bog road, say every 10 feet or so, and just any trees that you can find in your area, little trees, 2 or 3 feet high, dig those out and bring them over and get them, because that area needs to be reforested.
do you know what area?
Yeah, the bog road, we never cut anything, it was
Yeah,
just grass.
Well, I'm saying.
Well, it's been mowed.
It's been long.
Yeah, I didn't
We have
know,
to
I
maintain
didn't know I couldn't mow it.
Yeah,
It was
we-
grass, I thought it was,
Yeah,
we
you can't
couldn't
mow
mow
the
it.
grass.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
within-
reason for there's no reason for maintenance on the bog because it's no longer a producing bog. So what basically we're saying is we want that to go back to nature. We want everything to grow
Just-
as it would.
Just get some indigenous plantings that are around your property, just plant them up on that upper section. That's what we're looking for.
Because it would be like a screen between you and the neighbor.
The neighbor, I
Straight.
really don't care how quick, you know,
Well, then you can start on it, correct?
yes.
Yeah, just some some trees around your property, just throw them on top of that bog road and don't mow the bog road anymore, let it grow up naturally. That's basically what we're asking you to do. It's
Okay.
just to let it go back to nature and not maintain it as a road anymore, because it's really not needed at this point.
Okay.
We'll
No.
be visiting this site probably once a week to see how this is going on. And if we need to, we will issue an enforcement order. And that carries with it the punch that if the work is not accomplished within 2 weeks of the issuance, there's a $300 a day fine
All
possible.
right, well, let's
Yeah,
let
we've
them,
also been-
I want you,
Okay.
we are waiting since February, dear.
I don't,
We've
It's
been
time to get
working
going.
with you since February. To
Okay.
our knowledge, we have
did.
done
You
everything
did
you've
nice,
asked. We've, we worked with Mark. We've come to every meeting you've asked us to that we can. And also, if you are gonna come to the property, you should let us know, because I do have dogs on the property, and I don't want them following your car or your vehicles, any of your vehicles, and getting hit. So I
Our-
don't think
our
it's
conservation
appropriate to
visits
just
are
show
done.
up at my house.
Our conservation visits are done during the day, and this is,
Normal working
as long
hours.
as your
But
property
we're working.
is, as long as your property is subject to our
jurisdiction.
overview, you have to be prepared to have us visit.
And that's fine, I just asked as a courtesy to, you have our phone numbers, you have our email addresses, to just send us a message so that, I can make sure my animals are safe. And make sure if anyone's on my property, they're safe, because my animals might get scared. It's just not fair.
Do us a favor, just start planting that and give us, if you can call the agent and just give her an update as you're going along. Let us know what you're doing, okay, so that we don't have to go down there. That's the fair way to do it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, just so that our agent knows what's going on, she can relay the message to us,
Mhm.
okay? If you take a picture of what you're doing and send it to the agent,
Yeah, that's
and that, I understand what you're saying, I have animals too, and I can understand what you're saying, but in the same instance, you're that close to an enforcement order, and I know you've done a lot of work, you've got the logs out of the way, you've done everything. I don't know how you missed the berm going on the side, but just take care of it. And as quickly as you can, please let, our agent know how you're doing, send them photographs. And is that all right with you, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
I don't think it's unreasonable that Brooks send him an email the night before.
That would be fine.
Oh, no, I don't have a problem with that, but,
Right.
but
No, I don't
if
think
they
that's
can,
excessive.
if they can cut our time down a little bit too by just sending,
I agree.
Right.
But on their behalf, and I'm trying to recall everything that went on, and I may be wrong, but I believe that the plantings of the trees and the shielding from the next door neighbor was only if they were gonna get the okay to store that wood on that bog.
no,
I don't believe that the discussion was,
no, that was
okay.
removal of the logs and
All right.
and doing that.
There was a lot of talk about
There was a lot of
should,
talk, and I
should
think
this,
there was
should
some
that.
misunderstanding.
Yeah, nothing was set in stone, there was nothing was,
Right.
nothing was defined, there was a
Well,
lot
a
of
lot of what you were
suggestions.
doing was up in the air at that point too.
Right.
You hadn't been to planning, you didn't know if you could even do this stuff, so everybody was trying to work without it becoming a thing.
Right.
So,
I'm just saying we're getting, not yelled at, but spoken to at the moment about things that we were,
On the
Yeah,
fence
that
that
law.
weren't, they
There was
weren't
nothing set in
definitive.
stone.
So, we're all on the same page now, right?
Wait, please.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman.
Yeah.
Have you filed any papers with the planning board for any reason, or?
I went to the planning board, I went to the zoning board of appeals, and I do not have any employees anymore,
So
so.
there's, basically, nothing has been done at either agency, planning board or zoning board of appeals, correct?
Correct.
So,
Well, we don't have the.
the
Are you still gonna
intention
do the
is not.
logs and stuff?
Nope,
Oh, you're not gonna do it? They're not.
No,
they're
the wood's not even there anymore.
No, it's not.
yeah.
The
saw that
whole
today.
wall of wood
We
is
saw it
gone.
today.
good.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
ZBA said I could keep what I need to burn in my own fireplace, and that's it.
Right,
Yeah.
but we, at the moment, don't really have anything.
Right.
So do,
Yeah.
yes, just
Yeah.
start in on that
Yep.
berm, get it done, And as you're going along, please send photographs to our agent,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll monitor it. But
And you can plant the trays sort of haphazardly, not every
it doesn't
10
have to be
feet.
in a
It
row
doesn't
like
have to look like a
downtown
park.
locations,
But they
scatter them
have to
around.
be put into place.
But I do have to ask, you have jurisdiction over about 10 acres of my property. Where can I get them from anywhere without
Yeah. If
getting
you
into
just,
trouble?
yeah,
Okay.
Go into the back areas and pick out little saplings and
yeah,
put 'em up.
yeah, we don't need you to put in 10-foot tall trees. Put in
I don't
something
know,
that will,
maybe 20.
put in something that'll grow over the next 10
I
years.
just don't want to get in trouble for digging
No, no,
plants
no,
out.
no, no,
Catch 22,
I
pal.
know.
Right.
no.
All right, so we're good?
Okay?
Mr.
Do we
Chairman?
want to, do we want to bring up the, do we have any kind of decision on the ramp? The
Oh, the gravel
the
ramp?
reprocessed ramp that goes into the
Well, that
bog?
was gonna come out,
What are your plans with that?
everything fell apart.
I'm not keeping any wood down there, but as Mark told you, the only place that I could keep the wood would be in my driveway, which is kind of inconvenient. I would like to just, you were there today, you saw where I had my little bit of
A little
wood.
bit of
I would
wood.
like to
Right.
keep it there.
That's
But
outside
that's
the
still within
drawing.
200 feet of the riverfront, so we're gonna need to give them the okay to do that.
I don't think it
It absolutely is.
Oh, it's well within 200.
Well,
Oh,
within
It's
200
within
bog
two-
is
the
within-
is.
200.
Oh, it was the 100 foot I saw, you're
200,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, the 200 feet goes in about halfway up my driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that, but I think we should protect him and give him something that says, yeah, you can do that
For personal use only.
within the 100 feet, give him, you know,
What do you
give him a
think,
100-foot
Kim?
buffer.
Well, if we're going to do that, then that 200-foot line has to be clearly marked.
It is.
It is.
Those are
They
both
marked
staked out.
everything.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still staked out, yeah.
everything's staked out.
It's not 100,
still.
it's either 200.
Yeah, I think they were way up in your lawn.
They're in the
Yeah,
driveway.
they're in the
Yeah.
driveway.
Way up above.
Yeah, they're way up near the garage.
The one in the driveway might be gone because we've driven
I think
over
it-
it,
yeah.
but all
Yeah.
the stake line is, the rest of it is
Yes.
still
Way
there.
up by your house.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the 200-foot line is about halfway up my driveway to the garage, and then the 100,
I'd like to see us, if we're gonna do that, we gotta give him something to let him know he can do within 100 feet, however we wanna do it.
Just where it is right now.
Well, the ramp is outside the 100, but in the 200.
Right,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
But I don't have I really don't have a problem with that. But it's up to the board, it's up to Jim.
The replanting should take place wherever plants were before. So therefore, the replanting should have necessarily go right to the waterfront, but it definitely should come up as far as the 100-foot and even further, because that's where the screening used to be, and this is what we want to restore.
there was never anything growing in that
Yeah, there was
bog.
nothing.
Not in the road.
There were trees running along the edge of that bog road.
There still are along the edge.
Yeah, there still are, we didn't cut anything
No,
around
there-
there.
Just the flat top is the only thing that got mowed.
Yeah.
That was it.
We didn't cut.
We didn't mow
there's
any
no
of the
trees.
edges.
Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna get some planted there.
Let's get some plants on the,
You know, Jim,
He's right. Gentleman's right. What we saw on
What we
that,
asked
what we
them
saw
to
on
do
the
is to
embankment
put-
was cut logs.
yeah.
that's true, and we said that that was okay to grow back naturally.
That's right.
Right.
And what we had said was on the top of the bog road,
The berm.
the berm itself, on the flat area where the road area,
Just
that we
put some
wanted
plantings.
plantings done there.
Yeah.
Right.
Not down the slope, not down towards the river, just on the
Right.
top of that.
Well, okay, that's, actually, I wanted them all along up to there. However, the fact is that they are mowing that bog road.
Well,
So
We asked them
it's a-
tonight to stop doing
Right, yeah, so
that.
we are never gonna get any plantings going anywhere from that, so that's gotta stop. That's gotta be left in a natural condition.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
And we've asked them to plant trees on the top of the bog road and stop mowing it. And I think that, we've asked them to plant saplings so that in 5 years or so, it's going to look very natural. I
Probably
think
less.
that's pretty much what we had talked about
Right.
in our meetings before. And I think is that fair to you?
Yeah, I think that's what we had just gone over.
Yeah, that's, I think that's what we're asking you to do. And I don't have,
And we'll send you a letter stating that you can put, now I'm just checking this with Jim, with the chair. We're gonna send you a letter stating that you can put wood on where those pallets are strictly for your own home use.
Yeah,
Right.
We don't wanna go in there and see,
the wooden wall again.
none of that, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cut wood there for your own use.
Yep.
and that you can retain the ramp.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right,
Yep,
That's all we're looking for, yeah.
that's a deal.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Finish.
Is that
All right.
okay with you, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Thank you.
That good for you guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Works for us.
Have a good day.
You too.
Take care, have a nice
Thanks.
evening now.
Thanks, you too.
Next patient.
Okay.
Do you wanna do this one real quick?
Circle, tree cutter.
She just called and asked if she could cut that tree.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty obvious it should be cut. That's
a
the
tree.
house, that's the house, and
house
that's
is right
me,
there.
I know. But I wanted to tell you,
This is one of your
she's
neighbors?
your neighbor,
What?
26 Cranberry Circle.
Yeah, what about it?
She wants to
It'll
cut a
fall
tree.
on your house if she doesn't cut it, so,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's gotta cut it.
there you go.
Chop, all right.
Approved.
That
It
was
was
easy.
easy. And okey
Yeah.
dokey
Next.
on that one.
That's
Okey
fine.
dokey on that one, yeah.
Since we
Alright.
already sent him an okay.
Good.
Next item, COC request, 38 Priscilla Mullins Way.
Oh, that was the same as 38 Priscilla Mullins Way, they all fell under the
That
DEP
is
file
38.
with, and there's no wetlands.
Okay, so that's granted.
Yep. Oh, so I'll have it signed.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve the COC request for 38 Priscilla Mullins Way, DEP SC 126-36.
Second?
Also,
Moved and seconded to issue a COC for 38 Priscilla Mullins Way. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimous.
we'll do the minutes at the end.
Is it,
Yeah, you should.
Get some of
Right,
these,
when we get on to it.
these guys get out of here, they don't wanna watch us read it. 17 pages of minutes.
Well, they can all read them.
Okay, we're gonna go to new hearings at this point. 17 Center Street. Notice hereby given in accordance with the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:15 PM on Wednesday, September 4th, 2019, but it's now September 18th.
yeah, scratch that.
Yeah, meeting room 1, Carver Town Hall, to hear the notice of intent submitted on behalf of Rachel McDonald for the construction of a single-family dwelling with associated substance sewage disposal system and utilities and grading within 65 and/or 100-foot buffer zone to wetland resource area bordering vegetated wetland. That is a cranberry bog. The applicant is requesting a variance from Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw for the activities grading portion of septic reserve area within 65-foot buffer protected under the bylaw. A variance under section 92.1.3 subsection 4 for the construction of residential dwelling within 100 feet of Cranberry Bog. Project is located at 17 Center Street, Carver, Mass. Map 103, Lot 13. All interested parties are invited to attend.
You got any drawings on that?
I'm
Just like,
I'm tired from that. That was a long public hearing notice, wasn't it?
and Jay,
Hey, Brooke, we got any drawings on that?
Oh, yeah. We do. And we went and looked at it today.
Yeah, I wanna see where the house is going, huh?
Oh, gee, dude.
it's going to be similar to the Walker House off of Bow Street.
Bow Street.
It's very similar to that.
Oh. We'll find your own.
We got another plan.
You know,
Actually, I find. Right, so good.
Bog Road, that's where they put in.
you good?
Everybody's going. They're sharing. You and I can share.
I'm not sure, I am.
Read.
Okay, so it's
The basics.
using chambers on
All you need is stop by during the days and just take 5 minutes. It's right on Center
this.
Street.
There's no holding tank
And
with
we'll
it.
do truck over and just walk through.
No, this is a distribution, this is distribution, see, 1,500.
They're on the right. So it's been done in the
The
past.
town call for 2,000 gallon?
Bow Street.
Yeah.
What's that?
The town, doesn't it call for 2,000 gallon on the
For-
distribution
Oh,
tank
I have
on
no,
septic?
I don't know.
That was good.
Did you already go to Board of Health?
No, not yet. I have
Yeah.
spoken with Kevin
Oh,
about the
okay.
project,
Yeah.
but we haven't made a formal application, no.
Oh, I don't know what the distribution.
Same rule, family has to own the lot, own the house,
Okay.
too.
Well, we went out today, looked at it.
Okay.
You want to tell us?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Brian Grady with GAF Engineering. With me is Rose Shimkus, and her father, Paul Shimkus, is in the back. Rose and her sister, Rachel McDonald, are going to be building this home on this property. They've recently acquired this lot from their father, who lives adjacent to this on the northerly lot. So they've purchased this lot from him to build this home. He has owned and operated this cranberry bog for a number of years and will continue to operate it. And Rose and her sister will live in this home. So what you see here is, on the south side in blue is the cranberry bog, and I've highlighted in this black marker the existing cranberry bog access road. And then above that in red is the 65-foot no-build zone, so we do not have any impervious structures proposed within the 65-foot zone. And a portion of the dwelling does fall within the 100-foot buffer zone to the cranberry bog, as well as some grading associated with it and the sewage disposal system. So nothing's within the 65. The nearest point of the structure to the cranberry bog is the porch, which is about 73 feet to the structure. We don't believe that there's going to be any impacts from construction or long-term to the cranberry bog. It's in their interest, it's in Mr. Shimkus' interest to protect that and continue to operate that bog and keep it protected. So the only modification we made to the house design is the design that they've chosen is a side load garage, which would mean it would come down to the south, so we've changed the orientation so that it's a straight shot from the street. Other than that, if we can just respond to any questions that you have.
Is this garage, garage section, is that for the sole use of the dwelling, or is it for cranberry machinery as well?
It's for the dwelling, yes.
It's for the bog too?
No, it's for the house.
Just not for the bog or for the?
Just, it's
No,
part of the
okay.
dwelling, correct.
All right, thank you. It's the only question I have.
We've approved plans like this in a layout similar. What has to be understood is that the house and the bog are locked together totally. They can never be separated. In other words, the house can't be sold separate from the bog separated, cannot be sold separate from the house. So it's just something to be aware of.
Sure, understood, yes.
I have no problem.
You're grading within the 65 feet. It looks as though, near your septic system and just outside of the porch, correct? You're going to be
Right.
grading.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Right.
We would probably like for the signs to be placed, the
At the post?
the wetland sign on the post at the 65-foot mark across the entire area, and for anything within that 65 feet to grow wild, meaning no lawn. It's really an untouched, it should be an untouched area.
Well, it's currently maintained for the agricultural activities on the
The
property.
log roads.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, they get the bog road going through, yes.
The
Well, I
bog
know
roads
that.
and-
They're talking from the house down to the bog road, kind of.
Yeah, no manicured lawn
Right.
beyond
Right.
this.
No manicured lawn,
Right.
that's
Right.
correct.
Sure.
And the signs to be placed at the 65-foot line. Yeah.
About 3,
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Three?
without getting overdoing. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's not, it's not a long
Alright.
stretch.
Yeah, you can put one up toward the front, one in the middle somewhere, so you can see the beautiful sign right off the back deck there.
Are you leaving that post and rail fence?
And
You don't have to
There
light
now.
it up at night or anything like that.
It's a nice old fence right there.
Yeah, it looks like a postcard, that fence.
It's really
We
cute.
love the fence, but it's literally like falling apart.
Yeah, we liked it, actually.
Yeah, we
Want you
did.
to leave it.
Looked like a postcard.
Yeah, it does.
It does, it looks like a postcard.
The sign on that.
Yeah, oh, that's
And when
true.
it falls over, you won't have to look at the sign.
We can take care of that. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. Any abutters?
Oh, I don't know. Hang on. I think so. Did you give me the green ones?
Just reaching for them.
I know, I was like, I know because you continued it, I couldn't remember if you did or not. So I guess there are no butters? You could ask for
Yeah.
butters, but.
Are there any butters here from Center Street? Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
You have something to say?
I'm sorry? Okay, the backside. That's away from Center Street? Okay.
Do you have any comments you wanna bring up?
Do you wanna come take a look at the map?
Come on, take a look.
We just came to listen, basically, we got the certified mail and thought we'd come by and just hear out of curiosity. I guess we'd like to listen now.
Yeah, well, why don't
Come on
you go ahead and do that now? And
Sure.
It should pretty much, I don't think, delay any fears like that, because it's very
Where did they?
minor.
Where did they say they lived?
So are you familiar with the bog?
Yes.
Yes,
It's
There's
the
the
street,
street, this is the
comes
bog.
off Center Street and then
Like
there's a
the
cul-de-sac.
dashed line here,
Oh,
Mr. Shimmis's house is, that's the existing bog road. Yeah, you're quite far back, there's this piece of land, that's been left with Mr. Shimkis's house, and, you lot 21-2-16, yep.
We just wanted to see if it's basically on the street, more or less,
Mm.
aligned with the other
Correct.
houses.
Right.
Right.
Rather than set way back,
Correct.
behind where we are.
Right, correct, yep,
It's just another,
right.
that's fine, I'm just curious.
Mhm.
We're good.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, should we take a motion to close the hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing for 17 Center Street, DEP SC 126-588.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to close the hearing for DEP C 1.6-588. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Make a motion, we approve the variance for 17 Center Street, DEP SC 126-588, with the following conditions: that the house never be separated from the bog and sold separate, and that they put up 3 posts at the 65-foot
Foot line.
line,
Yeah. That's about all you need.
and that everything behind the 65 on the bog side just be allowed to go natural as you maintain the bog.
Yeah, let's mention that.
Yep.
with that.
Yeah.
Anything that good?
Yeah. Sounds good, Al.
I think I had a condition on
Needs a second.
All right, I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the issuing of the
Variance.
Variance. yeah.
variance, yeah, the variances, right? For the 17 Center Street project. Now, we get on to the main question.
We have to vote.
that. Hey,
It's been moved in second, we have to vote.
Yes, oh, we have moved and seconded for the variance for the well, and for the other
for the-
activities,
For grading, yeah,
Gonna work with
and also for the house.
also for the house. Okay.
And all changes made through by Al.
Okay, so we're good.
Yeah.
The
Have you got
variance
this?
is going to cover all these things.
I don't, I
You
have
sure?
no idea what he's saying.
Just put a lot of dashes.
Okay, all those in favor of this, the variance for the well and the location of the house and the 65-foot barrier, line marking, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's passed unanimously.
All right, done.
Thank you very much.
Good to go.
Wait, we gotta approve the project.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
didn't we do that?
This could take a little while.
Never mind, you can leave.
Oh, we have to approve the
We're
variance?
good.
Yeah,
I think
we
we
got the
did that.
variance
It's
and we
approved.
got the,
We're supposed to
hearing
do the
closed.
NOI, right?
Yeah,
So now you wanna, make
So
a
you-
motion, we approve the NOI
Right.
for
Issuing an order.
SE one
Right, we have to do that, we did the
126,
variance, we gotta do the
588.
NOI.
Wait. Issue an-
588 for
issue an
17
order.
Center Street as previously described.
right.
I will second that.
It's moved seconded to, approve the, NOI for SE 126-588 as discussed. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
You can sign
There
it.
you go.
Now you're done.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thanks,
I
Brian.
think you're all set. We'll check the minutes and we'll let you know.
Just get me spared
The
to get
minutes
out of
might
here
look a
with some
little
changes.
Lefties, great.
Good luck with the house.
Thank you.
Oh, this guy's got a big one.
I'll take those plans.
Have the plans back for me?
Yeah,
You don't need that.
Oh, it's nice that they gave me.
I know.
I gotta go to 26 Cranberry.
These are all perfect sense too. I hate the ones that are.
Stuff in the pile.
Now,
Thank you.
Oh,
This is expansion of the military there. That's true. You saw that in the COC?
You guys don't need to go to any of this stuff.
Hey, yes.
The whole thing?
Someday when I retire.
wake me up, wake me up. Okay. Notice hereby given in accordance with Mass Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetland Protection Bylaw. The public hearing will be held at 7:30 PM on Wednesday, September 18, 2019, in Meeting Room 1, Carver Town Hall. To hear the notice of intent submitted by Borrego Solar Systems, Inc. for the proposed construction of a 2,494.610 kilowatt ground-mounted photovoltaic solar array. The proposed array, which is an expansion of the existing solar array, is to be installed on the upland cranberry bog located on the northwesterly portion of the property. The solar array is located within 165-foot buffers from the existing wetland cranberry bogs and will require variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw. The project is located at 19C Ward Street, Carver, Mass. at 120, lot 60, Carver, Mass. All interested parties are invited to attend.
We have 3.
Okay. And we have for Borrego.
geez.
Dean's.
We'll get to that.
We got a book. Exactly. Go ahead, take care.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Conservation Commission. For the record, Zachary Farkas, I'm the project developer. For the project with me is Dean Smith, civil engineer, also with Borrego Solar. We're here before you presenting a project expansion for the Ward Street Solar Project that was permitted in 2015-16 and constructed in 2017. As I'm sure you're all aware, recently the Carver Solar Bylaw has changed with the setbacks to lot lines, especially interior lot lines on cranberry bogs. And so we're here in front of you seeking permission to expand the project as shown on the plan. This is a 2.5 megawatt DC solar and energy storage project. It will have the similar look and feel as the recent group of projects that Borrego brought before this board on 80 Makepeace property over previous winter and spring. Solar and energy storage are very compatible, obviously, with energy storage solving intermittency issues associated with renewable energy. And this project, as I said, is very similar to those that have come before this board. As you can see, there is basically a 200-foot wide crescent moon-shaped expansion around the existing array that has already been constructed and is currently operating. though the site will be mechanically and electrically separate for the obvious reasons. We view it as a system expansion. If anyone has any general questions, I'm happy to answer them now. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to Dean to talk through the basic site plan and summarize some things from the site walk this morning.
I have no questions.
No, from him.
Thank you.
Good evening.
That's a guy I want.
The expansion is very much like our other projects that have come before this commission. It'll be laid out the same way, just a continuation of the project that's there now. This aerial, it was under construction at the time, so only a portion of the existing system is there, but it extends up into this area. So it'll just be one continuous field across there. The new system will have a continuous security fence around it, the way that others do. We'll be entering off of Ward Street, the same as the other project, and then we'll come across and have a new entrance constructed on the outside of the existing fence of the system there. There are some existing bog roads that are within this proposed solar array field that will be knocked down and basically just spread out on the other areas of the site to bring up any low areas and flatten it out. We will be working within the 65-foot buffer from the bogs to the west. So that variance is part of our request. The only difference between this and the earlier phase is this has the energy storage component as well. But aside from that, it'll be very similar to what's existing there now. I did present, along with our application materials, an aerial from 1995 before these bogs were constructed that shows that the whole area was upland. It is bordered by two reservoirs, farm holding ponds that were constructed out of the upland areas as well. They were originally flagged back when things were delineated as wetlands, so we're showing the buffers around those as well. But it would be the same situation. We'd be working within the buffer areas. We're just going to be building in the bog proper that's there now. We wouldn't be disturbing the bog road that runs along the west side, so that'll still be there for access. Other than that, I'm here to answer any questions that the board has.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak if I could, please. Thank you. I do have some concerns with reference to that section of property which borders both reservoirs. That's circled on C 1.1, 1.0, where it's reading all the deed numbers. That section in there, we were there today. It's been wet for a long time. I'd like that checked into a little bit closer than a map that was done in 1995. I personally, the rest of it I don't have a problem with, but that one section, there's clearly standing water through that whole back section. Looks like another reservoir back there, it's so wet. And even up on front, we still had standing water right at the very front edge as well. I'd like the commission to consider sending one of our people out there to verify that was an up. I'm looking at this. He's showing us one map from 1995.
Yeah. That's
I don't know.
25 years ago.
So, or they could, I mean, or you could, I was just gonna say, or you could do what you did at Center Street. You know how you had the girl from Prime go in and do some
Get some soil augers to prove that it's underlying upland soils.
Yeah.
We could have that investigation done so that we have
Just like
evidence that
verification
it is an
sure.
upland area.
Yeah.
I think aside from the standing water, I don't think there's any vegetative indicators there. So, but she can check that out at the same time. We can
Yeah.
bring a biologist in to take a look at it and note the vegetation,
Yeah.
take some soil augers so that we can show that the underlying soils.
I'd be satisfied with that.
Okay, part of the reason that there is standing water there is that it was originally excavated to create the beds for for another cranberry bog that never went into operation. So they excavated down to those levels, but they never brought in the material for on top of it. So it was left lower. There's no outfall from that area, so there's nowhere for the surface water runoff to go.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we could do it that way. That way they can have the,
That sounds
yeah.
great.
What do you think?
I think that's acceptable.
Thank you, Jim.
So, Sabers, any questions?
No, and just to make, to be clear, it's just that one small area which is.
That northern
North-
bog, that wasn't part of the other
That's it.
project.
The rest of it looks
Yes.
great.
Of the
Just
path.
that one section,
Mhm.
Log road that we
Okay.
worked on today.
that just didn't look right.
And the intent is just to confirm that that bog has not taken on wetland characteristics over the 20-odd years that they may or may not have been watered.
As it's sat inactive.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you.
What is just out of curiosity, what's the current array, kilowatts?
The current array is 2.8 megawatts.
So you're almost doubling.
The total, yes.
Great.
The technology's moved, taken some kind of, Morse law type steps forward in the last couple of years, so we're able to get about the same amount of solar in about 60-70% of the space. So we're getting
Elevations on these gonna be pretty much, the new elevations on the passive solar is gonna be the same as what's existing?
the heights of the
heights and
bait
so
package
forth?
is the same. Yeah,
Right.
same technology, big steel erector set with panels set on top.
Get that bit information back to us for the next meeting.
So
Can we do
this-
that for the next meeting?
I don't think
I
there's
wanna
a problem
push
to
you
get
along,
somebody
all
out
right.
there.
October 2nd.
Yeah, I think if we have any issues with getting our subcontractors out there, we'll reach out to you, but let's
Okay.
plan
But
on
others would
the
just
next
put it on
meeting
second-
would be great.
the second, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, we want, motion to continue to, October 2nd.
I will make a motion that we continue 19C Ward Street, DEPSE 126-509 to our next meeting on October 2nd, 2019.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to continue this hearing until, on 19C Ward Street, until, October 2nd. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I just don't want DEP coming back to us.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
If there's a problem getting that done, reach out to Brooke
Yeah,
and.
yeah, let me know if you can.
What we did on the other project is they wrote a
Yeah.
report for you with all the data, the logs.
Yeah, I think it was the growth from Prime, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
a good one from Prime that did the other.
Thank you.
One more,
Oh, we got one more?
Continue.
yeah.
This was the continue the ANRAD.
Oh, you want the big one?
I was ready to go home.
I'm sorry.
So,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna continue the hearing on 19 South Main Street, NRA and RAG, SC 126-583. First help, discussed on July 24th, 2009.
Let me just sign in real quick, apologies.
So you remember this one, they, filed an ANRAD, we had, Steve Ibis. You hired him as a consultant to look at what they had done.
Uh-huh.
He had some comments, they came back and responded to all those comments, and then today I got a few more comments.
Yes.
We've got a few more comments.
Okay, alrighty. So, hello everyone. My name's Elise Tripp from Outback Engineering, representing Bradshaw Real Estate Trust for 19 South Main Street. And as Brooke has mentioned, this is a continuance. It's regarding an ANRAD. And so what we had initially asked for was that wetland flag A1 to A81, wetland flag B1 to wetland flag B45, and wetland flag C1 to wetland flag C14 be approved as part of, this ANRAD. So I have here Brad Holmes of ECR LLC, and he's a professional wetland scientist who did the initial delineation. Steve Ibis was hired through you guys to do the review. And I also have here Jeffrey Youngquist of Outback Engineering, professional land surveyor. So based off of the most recent letter that Steve has sent in,
We sent some revised information, watershed boundary plan, some revised data sheets, kind of answering some of the first inquiries that he had in his peer review comment letter. And so most recently we have his letter today where he has, affirmed, as far as he's written in this letter, the delineation sheets, that they're accurate, that we moved the one flag that he would have liked to see move up gradient, and that we have done all of those requests. The only other thing that was kind of lingering on here was just some curiosities about the watershed boundary, specifically for an intermittent stream that's on the right outside the southern property line. So there's 2 intermittent streams on the property. One going through the BVW, and it's a man-made drainage ditch that connects. We have found that to be intermittent, and Steve also had in his last letter that he had seen it consecutively dry and, agreed with that. So part 2 is that we were looking at the southern property, it's that stream on the southern property line, and that is where we submitted this watershed boundary, and it comes to 0.48 square miles. And when, as you guys are well aware with the riverfront regulations, if we can't use stream stats because of the location, that you have to do calculations on what the square miles are, and that it must be below 0.5 to be an intermittent stream. And so in his letter, he had just had some questions regarding the LiDAR data, if it was field verified, given some, any inaccuracies like that. So we have basically just provided here, we were not able to field verify it, given its large expanses through multiple properties. However, one of his concerns was regarding these straight lines, which Jeff has also printed out some pictures. Those are roads following the pond and the cranberry bogs. So they do look, at first glance, a little haphazard, but they do follow, as seen in the visual, topographic high points and known dikes. Yes, yes.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry, Brooke and I will share.
Yeah, we can share, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
The house right down.
Yes?
Do we have a map?
So the existing house is right down here. Currently,
It's the
we have
outlet.
these on the other side.
Yeah, so
This is the southern stream that goes
Which
right
one is
on the property a little bit outside of the boundary. And then there's the one going right through.
This is the road, this is the house here? Is that the house?
Isn't that Murphy's?
And so that's what we have for you.
That's the
and
church. That's the main house. There's Murphy's.
Get orientation on
That's the
these?
church and the cemetery.
Is that north?
This is north.
Yeah.
This is Edendale Reservoir, that's Union Church.
This is, there's the
Bradshaw
church.
House.
Well, there's a,
That's the church.
Which one's the church?
Right.
That's the church.
That's the church, yeah.
Yeah. So this is going, actually, this is south. This is going south.
So what were you explaining about the roads?
Okay, his question,
Jim?
thank you.
Now we're going.
Okay,
Yeah,
This is going.
right.
this is the way the bubble is. He was concerned about the southwesterly line, why it was so straight. Well, because there's a dike there,
Yes.
That was the old railroad.
separates the reservoir from the property.
Yep.
I had the kid that, who's a very good at interpreting these maps. This is LiDAR, and he just, when he got it all done, I said, just put it where it's supposed to be, and all of a sudden it came up. That's what it came up. And we used to, in the old days, just scale off a USGS map with 10-foot contours, but this is about as accurate as we can get.
Right.
And it's
That's
straight
second-
because it's a dike road.
That second stream, what did it measure out at?
The one that was in between was 0.05, I believe. And then this one measured out to 0.43.
How much?
0.43, and when you combine those together, it's an overall watershed of both streams together to be.
Did you measure that from the high water mark, or how'd you measure it?
So we did the watershed boundary, looking at the contours and the high points to see where it would flow, looking at that LiDAR data.
So you didn't answer my question. Did you measure from the high water mark, or the average water mark, or did you measure from the low water mark?
We have the basin is determined by the elevation.
That's
of the
correct,
outside.
yep.
What it goes into, all we have is the area of the basin. Whether the water table could vary. and
That's correct, but you always
depending
measure from, even with the water table varying, you still measure from the high part of the water table.
I think what you're referring to is a delineation on the stream.
That's correct.
Meaning
Right.
water line of the
Right,
stream.
right.
Right, this pertains to a watershed area, so where the rainfall hits the land,
Yeah,
this has nothing, the stream would be in this area,
right,
so where rain comes,
yeah.
what drains to this stream, that's the watershed area.
It's a bowl.
Mm.
It's like a
Okay,
bowl,
thank you.
whatever goes
Yeah,
in.
Thank you.
it's not the river
Thank you.
itself.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
willing to learn a little more. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Determine the size of the bowl.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not the river itself. It's the
Right.
water, yeah,
Has nothing to do with the river.
right.
It's the watershed
Thank you.
that flows into it.
And that's what that dotted line indicates.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what it
yep.
is.
All right, thank you.
And this is what, King Richard's Fair area there?
Yeah.
Should we warn them? They're gonna get flooded over.
No.
So,
This is just for determining the wetland boundary,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
and we're not proposing anything at this time,
Right.
so.
So what are your plans with the intermittent stream? What are your plans with the intermittent stream?
Nothing
We don't have any plans for it.
whatsoever.
it was just basically to determine whether it was perennial or.
Yeah. So it had started where we had not actually displayed on our plan initially. We had just had the BVW areas, but we had talked about that there's streams going through there. We're aware of it, and we wanted to have it on the
Right.
plan
Yeah.
without actually delineating the whole thing, as that was not part of what we were
Right.
looking for. But we wanted to get a good estimate of where it was. We took some points and did it that way, and then to determine, since neither of these streams were mapped, whether they were intermittent or perennial. And that's kind of how we got to this point. But we did start with just requesting to have those resource areas confirmed, which the BVW flags, which Steve did do. And as he wrote in his letter today, that he was happy with those.
Brooke, you got any comment on this at all?
I mean, it seems like they've answered everything, Steve had the original comments, he had a lot of comments, those all got answered. Then he had a few left over, and it seems like tonight, they've pretty much, gone along, they pretty much answered all of Steve's.
All our questions?
Yeah, all of Steve's comments.
All the ones you've had also?
Yeah, because one of the main issues was the perennial, versus the intermittent. So they went to, the extreme of doing the stream stats and all this kind of stuff, and that's what the regulations say you do. And then, if it's determined by the certain size watershed, then, it's intermittent.
So all of these questions that were raised today, in today's letter.
Yep, right, because it was basically that straight,
Yep,
The
yeah,
straight
they were
line
just
and
kind
then-
of regarding, the straight line, if it was if the,
Yeah.
had been field verified, and, regarding the, just concern about if the extent of the watershed was
Yeah.
correct, based off of the LiDAR and our,
Brooke, are you satisfied with all the answers?
yeah, I think, Steve did a very good review. He did
Right.
a very thorough review, Brad did a very good job to begin with, but then, Steve went through everything again, it seems like,
Yeah, but he says there remains some questions regarding interpretation of the LiDAR.
Right, which is what they've
Which
done.
is what we brought
they
here,
just
yeah.
did today, yeah,
to help try to.
tonight, yeah.
I can say that, normally what we would do on a watershed area is use a USGS topographic map. The LiDAR data blows that out of the water, so the methodology that Outback Engineering put together is far greater than what you would normally get with the
Right.
survey map. What we have is bordering vegetated wetland, it borders, it has to border on something, there's
Yeah.
a stream, so in my mind, it's a bordering vegetated wetland system. For your confirmation,
So really, the LiDAR, is more than what the regulations say.
Correct.
Right. So it's above and beyond kind of what the regulations ask for,
Alright.
yeah.
And all the Atwood bogs and the Atwood Reservoir drain south.
Yes.
Yep, and actually I did look, there is a couple layers that have hydrological connectivity, that you wouldn't see just like by looking at it, just underground things. DEP has it, and there are a couple hydrological connections further, I guess you could say to the left of the area that it drains to the neighboring watershed area, but does not actually
Yeah.
have any known or visible connections to this watershed. So we kind of looked through every little bit that we could possibly find, given resources and the need for it.
So, given this report, what do we find?
Well, what you would do is if you agree with what the consultant said that you hired, you would issue the ORAD. And that would be it.
So our consultant's in agreement with everything and yada, yada, yada?
Yeah, because his last few comments were, answered
Yeah,
tonight.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, we have a comment from the public
Yeah.
on this one?
Mr. Telly?
Yeah.
So, unlike the consultants and unlike everybody in the room except for Mr. Savory there, we live there and we know what the water is. And I have a difference of opinion of what's there. And so I think it would be in their interest to take the most conservative approach to avoid appeals and everything else and have this thing go on ad infinitum, would be to approach it as if there were perennial streams and then develop it according to there. Because obviously what we're looking at here is, they're saying there's no development plan. Well, we all know there's a development plan coming. Otherwise, why would they be doing the work? So I think it'd be best to approach it that way for their benefit and for the protection of the water. There's a lot of water over there. There's water flowing into the roads. There's all over the place. And for the record, Savory, you know this, King Richard's Fair, they filled the wetlands. Those parking lots were wet. Now, that was done, I think, back in the Bartholomew era. But the point is, what may be, you're taking as gospel today isn't necessarily how God put it there, so to speak. So, to move their project forward without, conflict and other problems, I'd recommend they take the most conservative approach and do a 100-foot setback and then talk to you about the other 100 like you normally do in a riverfront area. And if that's the case, I'm fine with that. If that's not the case, then, it's gonna be difficult.
Excuse me, sir, did I understand that you want to take an intermittent stream and tell us that it's going to be a perennial stream? Did I hear that right?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I just.
I could have sworn I heard you
This
say
this
that.
is not a cut and dry business. What's, you have your consultant says that we're gonna hire our own consultant. I wanted to see what was gonna take place here tonight. Now I'm gonna hire our own engineer.
You're more than welcome to do that. On and after we make our decision, you can hire your engineer through appeal to the DEP.
Well, I intend to do that.
Okay, so
That's right.
do you have that right
I
to
know
do
I do.
that?
Right.
What we're dealing with is what our consulting is saying, what they're saying, and it's an intermittent stream, and what's going on there at this point.
I understand that. Do you live there?
I don't have to live there.
I understand that, but I do.
I understand that, you live across the street, I get that, I understand that. But we have to go according to what our
Right.
experts say. You have
That's
the right,
fine.
sir, you do have the right to appeal, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. As soon as we issue to DEP, you have the right to appeal to DEP directly.
Right. And that's
Okay.
why I was suggesting to them that to avoid all that, take the most conservative approach. But if they choose not to, then we'll have to have other people look at it as well.
Okay. That's,
I mean,
that
I
works
live
for me.
there.
I don't have a
I don't
problem with
think,
that.
I can't imagine Savory's of that opinion in his heart. So,
No, I've lived across the street. I've lived, next to where you live for, I mean, my family's been there
since the
for.
fifties,
Since
100
eighteen
years,
thirty,
yeah.
so,
but
yeah,
you
I know
yourself
how-
since the fifties.
I know how wet that is. And,
But at the same time, if our engineer finds
I,
that it's.
no, by the letter of the law, we have to go by what the engineers on both sides have said, and they both are in agreement. I mean, if it's the board's, choice, we could make a recommendation, but that's all it is. We can't, we can't enforce anything to them for
That's
that.
what
I'm not
trying to
asking you
say.
to enforce, I'm suggesting, because I have no way to talk to the proponent other than through the chair. So, as a courtesy, I'm suggesting a way to do that. If that's what it is, that's what it is, and, I've been on both sides of these issues.
Unless you talk to them and they change their minds, there's nothing we can do. We have to go according to what our people say.
All I'm saying is, I'm just
I
trying.
understand.
I've been on both sides of it, you know that, I've been doing
I
it
know.
for 40 years, I know the system.
And
And-
I know you're a good part of this town for everybody. I understand that. And,
Well, I do a lot for the town.
well, yes, you do. That's what I'm saying. But we're tied by what,
I'm not suggesting you do anything for me or anybody else that isn't
I
appropriate.
understand that.
all
I
right?
know what
I'm
you're
not suggesting.
asking.
What I'm asking for, what I suggest the proponent do to move their project forward without conflict is to take the most conservative approach.
well,
I'm not anti-development,
I understand
all
that.
right, by any means, I'm a developer.
But you're
but-
gonna have to deal directly with them because we have what we
Well,
have to
I just
follow.
want it in the record that I suggest that, I live there, Savory lives there.
We'll put
I
it in
think
the
if-
record
I think
for
if you
sure.
left it up to us, from a practical standpoint, or at least up to me, I would say that your engineer has it wrong. Now, I'm not an engineer, Mr. Dempsey, I'm the first to tell you that. I'm a real estate developer. But there are remedies available that, I've been on both sides of the argument, and I'm just trying to save everybody a lot of time, as a courtesy. But we can also do it the hard way.
Well, I don't wanna consider it the hard way. If you take some time, maybe they'll talk to you about it. I have no idea.
That's fine, I'm all
And I-
available, nobody's reached out to me, I'm happy to talk to somebody.
Well, at this
I mean,
point,
Do you know?
I think at this point, the board has to come up with a vote. You'll probably get a nay or two in this. And maybe that'll help you with DEP, but we still have to take a vote on what the facts
Right.
are.
As determined by our
Right,
independent
by
consultant.
an independent, we had an independent go out there and verified what they had. I mean, there's nothing more we can do.
Once again,
I know.
I'm trying to be reasonable. Brooke, if this should get approved tonight,
Yep.
Zanrad, I'd immediately want the maximum time, so I'd want whatever the issue date is.
Yep,
So, because there's a very short clock.
There's 10 days.
On
2
appeals.
weeks.
So, and I've been to every meeting, I think there's been 2, right? So I meet all the criteria and all that. I'll be using probably Brian Butler or somebody at that
Yep.
level to have the counterpoint. And then we'll go from there.
I'm not trying to say that I'm against what you're saying, because I think this is a precious piece of property, but in the same instant, we still have to go according to what our people say.
And I have no problem with them building a house or 2 or whatever they're gonna do over there. My issue is, I think, I think it's being I think it should be looked at the most conservative way, and that doesn't prevent the property from being developed.
Yeah.
All right?
I understand what you're saying.
And I'm not against, I just, for the record, if they approach it the most conservative way, they have our support. If they choose not to, then, we're gonna use what remedies we have. We may and may not be successful. We'll see.
All right.
Yes, Mr.
Sure.
So, Elise Tripp from Outback Engineering. I would just also like to make a reminder that this ORAD is really only for the wetland areas, as much as the stream has become part of it, and obviously it does matter what level it's at. So I don't know if that's something that the commission would have been including in the ORAD or not, but what would be issued if the commission saw it fit would just be for the BPW areas that were approved by Steve.
So actually, what I did was I put for the one that we, you know, if we would issue it tonight, I had put that, you know, a modified,
Yep.
based on, everything, and then the only thing I wrote was, under other resource areas, I just put a note, stream status analysis to confirm intermittent streams. So in other words, just so that I could mention the fact that it was an issue, you know what I mean, so, I think, does that sound good? Yeah. Because I wanted to say something about it, but only because
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's definitely an issue. Yeah.
I'd like to add one thing as far as the conservative approach. There is the ORAD, the ANRAD process is a scientific methodology for the DEP's requirements whether it pertains to bordering vegetated wetlands and how that's done through DEP methodology, and also whether a stream is intermittent, is a stream perennial. It's all based on science. The ORAD is science-based for the regulations. Conservative approach would come into play when you're proposing an activity, like a particular development. So that can certainly be done, you know, at the applicant's wish, if you, whatever he would like to do, if he'd like to go with conservative approach. But that doesn't occur during the ORAD process, it's based on science.
That's
For
exactly
the
right,
regulations.
That's exactly.
So it would be when they actually propose something else,
Okay.
Right,
you know,
they
for-
can
with a
take
notice of
whatever
intent, yeah.
approach works for everybody, but the
Yeah.
ORAD is science only for the regulations.
Well, in all due respect, a lot of science, I mean, there's a lot of people that have a different opinion on science. We all know that from what we hear in the news every day, right? So there's a lot of different opinions, and it isn't just, science is that, exactly that. It just isn't cut and dry. So, you know, I'm just trying to be reasonable and give you an upfront and try to work with you, but, that's, you know, if somebody wants to sit with me and say, okay, this is what it is, but this is gonna be our approach, and that's what you're willing to work with, then there's a discussion to be had. I'm not unreasonable, everybody in this board will tell you that. I'm not a NIMBY or anything else, but I've been on both sides of it here, both in this town and many other towns. I've been doing it for 40 years. I have a difference of opinion. I've lived there for 20 years. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's how long it's been, almost 20 years, not 18 years. So, you know, I see the amount of water, I see the hydrology, I see, and everything else. So it's all connected, and I just think it's, we have a difference of opinion. And, you know, maybe I'll be wrong, you know?
So,
But to get to that point is gonna take a lot of effort, so, on everybody's part. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. All right, I'd say we close this hearing. Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I think we've heard all of the evidentiary statements that we can handle, and, so yes, we should close the hearing. So, a motion to close the hearing. Yeah.
Make a motion to close the hearing on 19 South Main Street, NRAD DEP number SE 126-583.
And your second again?
Second.
We got a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to close the hearing on 19 South Main Street. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's done. Now we have what we're going to do with this closed hearing.
You're gonna issue an ORAD.
Okay. Issue an ORAD, and, then,
Issue an ORAD
Like you
to,
say, you know, it's like a modified one because it's a
Yes.
little bit different than it was when it was originally. 'Cause
Right.
Brad changed a few flags, things like that, and then I just mentioned the.
we're
you
gonna
know,
issue an
the stream
ORAD to
stats for the
19
internet.
South Main Street,
right,
under SE number 126-583.
that will go to DEP.
Yep, yep,
They will, then
yep,
take the judgment on that, and John will.
and then
notify them.
John will, yep. So the issuance date would, I usually put, you know, the night they sign it. So
Won't be
you,
tonight.
Copy of it tomorrow.
yep,
So if that's what it is, I need something that I can give to the attorney and Brian.
yep.
All right, we can do that, or
Yeah.
she can do that. All right, we're done.
Okay, so let's, move that we issue the ORAD. And we need the wording on that?
All right, next project.
Thank you.
Take care, have a nice evening.
Thanks,
Whoa,
Fred.
whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah,
excuse,
we-
Mr. Jim.
Yeah, we haven't.
We haven't voted, I didn't, was it
thought we
even
did.
seconded?
What we need is a motion to issue it.
We don't even have a motion yet.
I'm looking for somebody to come up with it.
Close it. I made a motion to close the
Right, we
hearing.
closed it. There's been no other motions.
Okay, calm down, Alan, I was
Take
making
a
that
pill.
clear, nothing was gonna happen, but
No,
we got. the-
nothing's gonna change.
Okay, so, Brooke, would you like to phrase the manner in which we wanna write that we wanna approve the ORAD?
Yeah, well, as I said, it's approved, that I checked the box for modified, for the BBW, because Brad moved some flags, and then I just added the, statement about, having done the stream stats for intermittent stream.
All right,
Even though they really didn't ask for that, you know, in the original ORAD, but because it was an issue, I just figured I'd put something.
We did it.
about it. Yeah, right.
Okay, so, the order's been outlined by the agent, and, we have a motion to, issue it?
I'll second that motion.
No, who's making that motion? Somebody's gonna make it.
You already made the
I
motion.
can't make it.
Oh, you can't make the motion.
Chair doesn't make it.
And you're not gonna make the motion.
Alan,
I'm not making the motion
oh, boy.
Nobody wants
I'll
to
make
make
the
a motion?
motion.
either. No.
Hold on.
Okay.
I make the motion that we accept the recommendations through our Conservation Commissioner on 19 South Main Street, or at DEP SE 126-583. I'll need a second,
And issue an order of resource area delineation.
and resource area.
Right.
Okay,
Need a second,
okay. Alan, you move second.
need a second. Got a second?
Okay. So move and seconded to issue the ORAD for 19 South Main Street. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yes.
One? Any abstentions? No.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, so we have 3-1-1. The,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Fred.
I understand.
Thank you, Elise.
Just a quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Is there any time tonight to talk about a completely unrelated thing, just a curiosity?
We can deal with it.
I'm talking in depth, but just,
Unanticipated.
I was concerned about something that I saw happening at the planning board, and I just wanted to address it real quick. Like, whole bit, like, you know, just
I would say,
like public comment or something?
well,
if it's.
because it relates to another board.
Yeah, I would-
Well, it doesn't relate to another board, it's just that
Something is-
I would,
there's a plan being developed, and ultimately it's gonna be in front of you. I just wanna be certain that the rules that were applied to me when I built the condominiums on Sampson's Pond will be also applied
To the,
to, and you're the only one, in all due respect, Jim, that was there when Sampson's Pond, you know, the Pine Ridge was done originally, and we're talking a while ago now.
yeah.
And I just wanna be sure that whatever comes down the pike over there, that there's not one set of rules for John Deli and a different set of rules for the next project. I'm talking about not anything to do with the project, other than the setback off the pond, which I was required at 200 feet,
Right, right,
which you've enforced, which I think you should.
yeah.
We were there today.
Right. All I'm saying is, just because there's an existing house on a particular piece of property and they're chopping it up into lots, doesn't mean the 200 feet goes out the window. That's the point I'm making. So I just wanna be sure that the board's gonna look at the equal enforcement of the law, or however you interpret the law.
I see no reason why we would do otherwise.
I don't think you would either. I just wanna make you aware that, and I'm not suggesting that the board's tremendously
Those
fair.
condos down?
I just wanna be sure that in the discussion of fairness, that
Yeah.
it's fair.
It is really fair.
That's all I'm asking, that's not,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not saying it's 100 for me and 200 for somebody else, I'm saying it's 200 across the board, and that's fine. For new stuff.
But
Not
you're,
remodeling a house, not,
you want, you understand, we need to just take that as a statement, we can't,
I'm not
because
asking.
nothing's come before us.
Hold on a second now. we don't have any jurisdiction outside the 100-foot. Whoever put that 200-foot in couldn't have been on this panel,
They were,
because we don't have any jurisdiction outside 100 feet, period.
That's correct, except as far as riverfronts.
Riverfronts.
That's,
Right.
I didn't
But
think
for
the
some
pond was a
reason, though-
riverfront.
No, it's not. No, but it was an understanding in approving that development project for Pine Ridge, that there'd be a 200-foot setback.
And then also.
Well, it was an
the case-
understanding, not a law.
Wait a minute.
Right.
That was also the case when the Davidsons came forward
Uh-huh,
on the peninsula.
right.
I don't know what you call that piece of property, say there's a name for that, whatever the point is there.
Bowman's Point.
A 200-foot setback there, and they abided by that at the time. And that's what's been put across the board, with, the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board in unison over the years. I just, that's all I'm saying. I just hope that everybody gets treated.
Right.
They appealed to DEP, we're out of it.
Well, that could be the precedent.
Whatever, whatever. Let's worry about it when it comes up.
Yeah, well, we should take a note that if this sort of thing does come up, we should.
We understood this, yes.
right.
Okay.
I mean, I
But you're right, there's no
appeal this as a
regulation.
precedent.
There's no regulation that says that.
It's a precedent.
Right.
Yeah, but
I guess that's the word. I'm looking for.
That'd be after the planning
Yeah,
board.
we'll have to pull that file for Pine Ridge.
Yeah.
And make sure that everything that was said and agreed upon is
Yeah.
Is at the forefront.
Right.
It was like yesterday.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
So I'm just, and Jim was there, so I'm not trying to put Jim on the spot.
I like the idea of it being outside.
Jim's always been
200
there.
feet away, I like that.
I do, I thank you, and I think the board's tremendously fair, and the town's wonderful, so thank you.
Thank you, John.
Jim was there when they tied the horses up out front, when they used to come in.
All right.
Well, I've been hanging around with the dinosaurs.
There you go.
This guy did.
We have dinosaurs.
Right, that's what I mean.
Thank you, John. I'll leave
Only the
that.
problem is, over you are, they're
in the
real.
office. I'll leave you a copy for, over with Deb.
I gotta get moving right now.
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, you
So
said.
how come
I'm not even sure if this
Because
is
it's him.
really official. I'm not up on parliamentary procedure.
Who are you?
I'm Tom Mannix. I'm a homeowner up on Lemon Pond.
Uh-huh.
Cranberry Circle. So you made me nervous when you said this is not the jurisdiction of this board. Looking for guidance from a neophyte in town government.
Can you sign in, please, and sit at the table?
Of course. A group of us are concerned because our recreation area, which is deeded to many of us, is now up for auction.
Well, okay, let's hold it right there. I live on Cranberry Circle myself. What has happened, from what I understand, is that the town believes they own a lot
They do.
on the corner.
Yep.
Yeah. But the issue is that all the neighbors on their deed says that that is a deeded right-of-way for them to go fishing. It's on their deeds.
How large?
Huh?
What's the space?
It goes right down the center of that, right down the center of that lot. That lot's a deeded lot for recreation. Now look at, I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen it yet. The
saw it.
neighbors say they have that.
I saw it.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna go to the treasurer and find out what that's all about myself. I'm not worried about it, I live on the lake, but I'm concerned about my neighbors. So I'm gonna go to the treasurer tomorrow and find out what it's all about. It could be because somebody has to pay taxes on the property, we have no idea.
That's what it is.
It is.
It was taken for tax title.
Yeah, it was taken for non-payment of tax.
That's right.
Well, how come the people on the deed weren't notified? That's why I wanna check.
Unless they don't
They
know.
should have notified the people that had.
Unless it's either not on the deed or the people, they just don't know that it is.
But regardless, any of this conversation is not
It's
germane
mute,
to this
it's mute.
board.
No, I agree, it has nothing to do with us. But I'm just saying that
That's all I'm looking for.
if, tomorrow, if I were you, I'd be running down to the treasurer's office.
I wouldn't start there. I would start at the assessor's office, and I'd come right into that selectman's office. Because the selectmen are the ones that authorize the town and the treasurer to put this thing out for auction.
Yeah.
Will there be somebody there tomorrow
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It'll be staffed.
Yeah, because we have nothing to do with whether.
I did contact somebody earlier in the week and you get back to me, so, that's.
No, you
exactly-
gotta come down here and physically do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go to the assessor's office, because they're gonna have all the deeds and all the cards on each.
And I talked to.
The reason
Well,
I go to
actually,
the
I'm
treasurer's
sorry,
office, see what there is for back
That's a
tax.
misdirection.
I talked to the lady today, she's on the RDA, she lives in Cranberry Circle.
Yes.
I spoke with her
Joanne.
and I told, oh,
Gloria? No,
what's her name?
Joanna Layton, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
she lives on
Joanne.
Cranberry Circle, she's on the RDA.
yeah.
Well, if it's on the IDA, it's Joanna.
Okay. Well, yeah, so so I talked to her for a little bit, and I knew that you had called me, and I thought that she was gonna tell you, so I said that we
People
had
are in
nothing
an
to do
uproar
with
about that.
whether a piece of property
Oh, I did talk to you.
went
It's good
to
see you.
auction.
I'm sorry, just.
Oh,
made
that's
it.
okay, yeah, and so I told her, and so she spent a lot of time in town hall today, so she was gonna go upstairs and talk to Kathy Kay and find out about the whole auction thing, and then, so you need to talk to her, because I'm not sure what she found out today, because I went to do our site visits, and she was
It was
still there.
Joanna?
Tuesday evenings, the departments are supposed to have somebody available for the public to come in.
Till 7 o'clock.
Till 7 o'clock, Tuesday evenings.
Goes right down.
So
It's near the house.
you'd be able to come in and talk to somebody in the assessor's office, ideally, and then talk to somebody in the treasurer's office.
If you have time to get here tomorrow,
Yeah, Joanne, because she was here quite a while today, and I know she went upstairs to the assessors, and she went upstairs to talk to Kathy Kay.
Should be
and told her to
interesting.
do that.
it wouldn't be the assessor's office. You'd end up having to go to the treasurer. That's who
But
holds
Kathy
the
Kay
file.
assessors,
The treasurer's
check with the
office.
assessors and find out what the status is.
Right.
Then you go to the treasurer.
And she was gonna try to get hold of, see if the deeds, see if the deeds had
I mean,
anything.
I've seen photocopies of the deed that say that, you know, you have deeded access to that, the space between parcels 23 and 24.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's right there. Oddly enough, if you look at all the real estate listings, I know they don't mean anything, everybody says, oh, we claim we have deeded access. I'm still paying a mortgage, so I had to go through my former real estate lady, and she said, you know, I don't see that language on your one, or the guy next to you, but, apparently, there are people in the neighborhood who have it. They paid everything off, they're looking right at the, deed that says you have access to that parcel of land, which is why
But
I'm wondering about,
there was a tax lien placed on it,
right,
and so nobody paid the taxes on it, so the town took it over by eminent domain.
Not only that, but if it says that between properties 23 and 24, that can mean just a very narrow.
That's
strip,
right. It could mean a 10-foot wide
Could be
strip to
very
get to the pond.
specific. Yeah, it might not mean the whole lot.
Like a public path.
It's not,
Then you know.
it's a lot.
So what
Like
this
a
is what we
deeded
have to
right of
find
way
out.
or
That's why I
something.
said go
Well,
to the
that's, I know,
assessors.
I understand what you're saying.
I didn't realize I had a neighbor there, and I am jealous of your pond frontage.
Yeah, I live at 22.
I'm trying to figure
Cranberry, it's a cranberry colored house, 2-car garage. I drive around in a hot rod a lot.
You do? Oh, okay, well, I'll have to check that out. You know, we bought the house because of the ponds and the neighborhoods around up in arms, because personally, I would love a 10-foot strip. My nightmare is that somebody's gonna put up a house, and the house is fine. I also have no problem with development like the gentleman just here. But, you know, I got a family that likes to fish, catch and release, very healthy.
Oh, yeah, our catch and release pond, that's for sure.
A lot of largies with some, you know, with some scarring on their lips, but they all survive. So that's really what we're most concerned about.
It could very well go up for auction, sir, you just have to check.
Well,
But if it goes up for auction, I guess that the right of way.
You guys should all
We
put your
don't
money
know.
together and buy it.
That's
I
the
would,
question,
you
whether
gotta
the
check all
right of
that,
way
you
is
can't say you're gonna
They
have
that's
it.
right.
They could do that. People put their money together and buy it.
But I don't believe the assessor would
That was
have
my
that
proposal
information.
earlier
It's in the
today.
hands of the tax collector. It's in the hands of the tax collector right now.
If there is a right of way, it should be marked just like a lot is
It
marked.
should be on the lot markings, that's
Yeah.
correct, but the lot markings I looked at today on the auction site don't show any of that, shows the lot.
Yeah.
So
That's
it
what I'm saying,
depends
so-
upon, you need to find a deed that says the access to the pond is
Certain.
here,
Right.
and this many feet from here, and, you know, so it may be enough to have the town sit back and say, okay, we don't wanna err on the wrong side of things, and we'll pull it off the auction list till we get this ironed out. That's what you need to make enough, because that auction's coming up,
Yeah, October.
It's October 16th.
so.
No,
Kathy
either.
Kay is the treasurer.
And then talk to
Um,
Joanna. Is that her name?
Joanna Layton is on the RDA. Jen Bogart is on the planning board. She also lives on Cranberry Circle.
Jen Bogart goes to Cranberry.
I'm sorry, I apologize, Cranberry Road.
Yeah, there's
Circle
road, there's way, there's
Oh,
park.
it's only the opposite
There's a lot of
ends
cranberry
town.
and the other
Everything's
thing.
Cranberry.
Opposite ends of town. Silly boy.
I apologize.
Cranberry's in my cupboard, Alan.
Well, there's
Do you have that-
cranberry everywhere you turn.
I really appreciate your time.
Do you have that
I know
ORAD?
it's really very, very late.
Late,
so
you
last
gotta be here at
question.
11.
So in terms of the treasurer department, how does that help us
Just-
out? We're just-
well, the
Because they own it.
Oh, the treasurer department owns it.
They act as the agents for the town.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
When it's
Right.
taken tax title and stuff.
When it's taken in tax title, it becomes the property of the treasurer tax collector. Actually, it might then, before it goes to auction, it might be owned by the selectmen. It all depends on how they
Right.
get.
She is the one. who
She'll
pays
direct you.
Yeah.
She being
Kathy
Kathy
Kay.
Kay,
Kathy
the-
Kay.
Kathy Kay.
The treasurer.
yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, neighbor.
Anytime.
Hey, Jim, do you have that over? I wanna make sure.
Now you know the pond is always nice, because there's somebody on the commission that looks after that.
I gotta make a
pond.
copy for John Dilley because he's gonna be on my ass if I don't.
This is the,
So, I
Are you gonna sign?
appreciate it, and,
Fine.
hopefully
Listen,
I'll be seeing you from the water side.
this is what our job is, to serve the citizens. Don't be apologetic, and we're happy we can try and solve some of these things.
You're not gonna sign the over.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Take care, have a good evening.
You too.
What number are you?
15, lot of crabgrass, but beautifully watered crabgrass.
Oh, I know who you are, yeah, the one with the light green grass, right, okay,
Yeah, 3 fighting children,
yeah, all
a
right.
dumb dog. End of comments. All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I know exactly who you are.
Okay.
I don't wanna go through the bylaws tonight. Can we wait on the bylaws?
That's funny as hell.
Let's wait on the bylaws.
The one with the light green grass.
You got 2 sets of minutes to approve. If you wanna do them
Okay.
tonight, you can put them off again.
No, we'll do the minutes. I'd like to suggest that we put the bylaws
Let's do the
off
bylaws
to
in
the
the
next
second.
meeting.
yeah, but let's make sure we do it because we're running up against the December 31st,
Okay.
Oh, we gotta
Plenty
get
of
that
time.
going. Yeah,
yeah.
the next meeting's in October.
Do the Reader's Digest version of the bylaw, too. But they might get
Well,
approved
I wanna
this time.
discuss what we wanna do, if anything.
Okay.
All right.
So we're looking at
Motion
the,
to approve the July 24th, 2019 meeting minutes as written.
After we read them.
I'll second it.
Nobody's read them?
I've read them.
I got them in an email.
Aye.
I got a packet. Yeah, I read it.
I got a packet.
All I ever look for is that my name doesn't have an E at the end of it. Other than that, I don't care what it says.
It has a what? E at the end of it?
I
Doesn't
look
have
to
an
make
E.
sure my name has an E in it.
That's right.
I've read that.
Waiting for a second.
Sorry, second.
We need one of those, all those in favor.
You'll have that when I finish looking at the minutes.
Why, you don't like it?
I
He doesn't know yet.
That's the purpose of having minutes, is let's read them.
Ah,
I don't have them in front of me, just need to make sure everybody was present. Just look and see if everybody was present.
everybody was present.
Okay.
No,
Well,
Dan Badger was absent on the July 24th,
Right,
so Dan can't second it.
I'll second it.
They can't,
Thank you.
if they weren't here, they can't do it.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes as written for July 24th, 2019,
Aye.
please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass
Aye, aye.
No, Dan has to abstain.
Okay, yeah,
Abstain,
pass 401, right.
Got it,
4-0.
got it.
Okay.
Sorry,
now,
Dan.
August 21st, 2019.
Everybody was here for that one. Make a motion to accept the minutes for August 21st, 2019 as written.
I'll second that.
Did these get sent out this week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah? She sent them both out.
I don't think I got them.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause she,
You
I
might
think
be
she
off the
I
email.
think she resent them because she had written the wrong date. She
Yeah, we
really
could have taken you
August
off the
20,
email,
yeah.
no problem.
But she really had the right date on there,
Right,
but
it
she
was
said the wrong,
28th,
right,
I think, in
right.
the email.
I did.
Savory.
I know it's late, guys, but I got one
No, I
other
made
thing I
the
wanna
motion.
bring up.
Huh? For which one?
Al, I have one other thing I gotta bring up,
What?
very short.
Who?
We have to
Tell me.
vote on this one.
As soon as we get that okay,
Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes as written for August 21st, 2018?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Pass unanimous, that's 5-0.
one real quick thing I wanted to bring up, and it has to do with, we're all trying to figure out, these people are, we have issues with people cutting trees down by the water all the time. They don't know that they say they don't know anything about the violations, so forth and so on, they don't know the law. I am suggesting that we send a letter, a certified letter, to all the local tree companies, notifying them of the law of cutting trees within 100 feet of a pond, 200 feet of a river. That they would be held responsible if they're caught doing it, or just notifying them that they're not allowed to cut any trees within 100 feet of a pond. It's just, I'm trying to save all this, we go out running, somebody's cutting trees, you're running all over the place. They know better, but no one's notified them.
Yeah.
I know Newcomb knows better, but he'll still do it because we've never notified him not to.
I've had calls from people who have said, though, that when they've gone to hire a tree company, the tree company has said to them, have you talked to conservation first? So there's one or two of them that do know better.
They all know.
Not, then,
But
they do all know, I know they do.
But the thing is, I think we
But
need a
some of
letter
them won't.
just to back it up, I really do. Because we're still running into people cutting trees without authorization.
But the
It's
fact
just
of
a
the
thought.
matter is if they cut if Joe's tree company comes in and cuts trees and the Conservation Commission is notified of that, the homeowner's on the hook. Now, they can go back and go after the tree company, that's their business, it's nothing to do with us.
I mean, it's
We don't go
ultimately-
after the tree company, we go and reprimand the homeowner.
I understand that, but all we do is reprimand them and the tree's still cut.
But the fact
So
of
if
the
we
matter
notify the
is,
tree cutters that they can't do that, I'm not saying that we can do anything legally, I don't know.
well, you know as well as I do, that it would be unless we're gonna do visits to every single one of these, and one of us are an arborist, we're gonna have people telling us, like we did before, with the trees are dangerous, and they're, pines, and they're gonna fall over, and
Yeah, but the only endangerment is if they're an endangerment to the house and not to the,
Right.
everything else.
And a
So,
lot of times they
I
are.
mean, we've been to a ton of places where we won't let them cut the tree down, it has nothing to do with the house.
right.
Has to do with
This
you.
is what I'm after.
Right.
I'm just trying to save a
It sounds
couple.
like a good idea, Tim.
I don't know if I'd do a
Let's
certified letter.
table it and think about it next meeting.
Okay, all right.
It's a,
We'd have to figure out the companies too. I
yeah,
mean, there's
Yeah,
certain,
that's easy, yeah.
Newcombs, I think there's,
Well, there's Bartlett, there's a whole
Yeah.
bunch.
Yeah.
Then you get, Fast Harry's and
Yeah.
so forth and so on.
Chris
Well,
Mellowes.
to save us some energy, on that, the names escape me, but there's a couple associations that they have to be, part of to be certified as arborists in the
Okay.
state. And we can just use that as our conduit for getting information to them.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I should have spoken to you about that.
Mr. Chairman, one other order of business. I would like for us to notify the people from Cranebrook to come in.
What's going on?
This has
Okay.
been ongoing for a long
Yes.
time now, that
So
shed.
Oh,
call,
yeah.
call
Yeah,
them,
they're happy.
call them and have
Within
them come.
25 feet of the
Right.
water.
Okay.
So should I just give them a call? You wanna,
I would tell them to come in next
I'll call the
meeting
owner,
and,
yep.
and get ready for, to present for their NOI.
yeah,
Because if something's gonna have to be done with that shed, it should be done the longer it
Before-
stays there, the worse
So
it
what's
is.
it gonna get, yeah?
things are gonna start
probably
growing
should
around it, and they won't be able to
require
remove
them
it.
to come in.
Yeah.
And I think that should be done in writing.
What's that?
We
Required.
should require them to come in.
Oh, put it in writing, okay. I know, well, the last excuse was that the engineer that they had was very, very busy and didn't have time to do the notice of intent. I mean, it's been quite a
Right,
while.
but we
Just
just,
time to cash the checks. Okay.
Yeah.
right, we just approved minutes from July that had them in it.
Yeah.
We haven't seen
Oh,
it
yeah,
since.
was it, okay, yeah.
So,
All right.
So-
two quick things, 30 seconds each, I promise. Zero shoestring. Has that issue been?
Yeah, but he was gonna, I spoke to the owner, after we sent him that second letter, and he said he hadn't been out there for a while, he was gonna go out and then get back to us. We're probably gonna have to chase him too.
August 21st minutes has it. He's going to go out and get rid of the brush on the bogs.
Right,
Regarding the trails and mountain standards, you will find out about that. This will be continued, Rob.
right, and he was gonna let me know when he went.
The only reason I ask is through the forest board and other groups, they're still ripping it up out there.
Oh, okay,
So,
all right.
I mean, I know some of that issue is outside of our purview, but,
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing I wanted to, give you all an update on, I know Brooke, I had, on some of my jaunts up to the coal property, I had, found some dumping going on. And I was trying to get an idea of who's really in charge of the coal property, because some other, concerned citizens that wanna have some trail cleanup projects and things like that, they wanted to know how we go about maintaining that, who's in charge of it. And the short answer is us, I thought,
Us in Audubon.
us in Audubon, but in terms of actual maintenance of it,
That's,
It
I
is-
think
it
that's
is-
If we have the
conservation.
luxury of having somebody to be able to.
it is not operations.
Where is this dumping occurring?
The biggest one I found was the northwest corner, of the property, so on the north end of those bogs, up back, if you follow the trail back toward the edge of the property, but they enter at the street side.
What are they dumping?
Pleasant Street?
They enter on Pleasant Street, and, you can see where
Drive all the way around.
push boulders, and they've trailered with an ATV trailered in stuff.
What,
I tracked them.
trash or
Yeah,
furniture?
bags of
or what?
trash, 2 rolls of rug, stuff.
You'll see more of that as the disposal costs.
As the
go up.
price goes up.
That's true.
So,
Speaking of that, I don't know who the heck I would talk to about that, because I'm
You
down there.
might get I
I'm
would
down
think
there
the
every week.
environmental police.
Hmm.
They're the ones
I'm
that
down
just
there
went after
tracking
that guy with they got the picture on that did all the tires, that dumped them.
Yeah,
That potato head goes flying through there, dumps all the tires and gets his picture taken.
Oh, Hammond Street?
And, yeah, and that was the environmental police went
I
after
got
him.
it, yeah.
Where is that?
Is it Zero Hammond Street? Was it Hammond? Cause I know John Woods has talked about people dumping down there a lot,
Yes.
and they put a camera up.
They put a camera up
They
and they
caught
caught the guy.
Yeah. That was DPW, I think, that did that.
Well, maybe we should
Well, I
try
was
and
gonna say,
look
I
into
just-
getting a camera up
I just
on
don't want
this.
my cameras stolen, because I use them for, hunting and
It's
stuff.
a trail camera.
Yeah. I wanna know exactly where the deer are.
Yeah.
All right, let's,
All right, I have just another quick thing. Last night at the selectmen's meeting, a Eagle Scout came before the selectmen to talk about his project. He's gonna be doing some work at Savory, and I wasn't sure if anything on Savory Ave was in the wetlands or any of that. I told him he should check with planning
No,
and check with
I mean,
you.
it's conservation property, but there's not really wetlands in there.
No, he wants to put a bench up, a park
yeah,
bench.
Oh,
he
that's
came-
fine.
He came to,
Part of his
Historic
project.
District Commission. as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So
Yeah.
he came to us first because he needed to tell the select board
Right.
last night that he.
I mean,
had
he probably should,
So
I
he saw-
wasn't sure.
He saw us at 6:30.
but they probably should have come to us too, because it's conservation property.
Well, I told him to call you.
Although, oh, okay.
I told
Although
him
we
to call
wouldn't
you,
stop.
I told him
Yeah.
to call planning, just to give everybody
Don't you think?
the courtesy of this is what I'm doing.
I mean, if he came to you guys, it doesn't really
They went to the
matter.
historic,
How much is conservation property? Just the ends, right?
well, that's
I
where he's
think,
putting the
isn't it
bench.
the whole thing,
The
Jim?
whole
Yeah.
property.
The whole
that we
property.
own is-
It's Savory Meadows, it's
Conservation.
called.
Yeah.
Savory
Well, okay,
Meadows,
that's back in there,
yeah,
but including the road?
yeah.
Yeah, we named it after you, for crying out
Out
loud.
to, if you went, out to the edge of the roadway of present Route 58.
Right, and then out into the woods.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The woods, okay.
I thought some of his conversation was, I thought he was putting up I know he was doing a bench area at one end of it that would look down the whole
Yeah.
vista and doing an area like that and stuff. He was
He's
doing a couple
primarily
of things.
redoing the gardens and putting.
Yeah.
He's replacing the sign,
So-
the wooden sign with the
The selectmen were fine with the whole thing, of course, but I
That's a good
suggested that he at least
Yeah.
talk to
All right.
Brooke to find out if that was okay.
Well, we can have him come in, but, I mean, he's
Yeah.
not gonna do anything till the
Yeah.
spring anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter if they did it, but, because it's
Okay,
also,
okay.
we wouldn't.
Pile of rubbish at the north end of that incident, I guess, ultimately. We didn't have time to stop it.
There's gonna be a lot more. Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any abst-